Hello YouTube subscribers. Today I've got some very special music playing for you on today Mother's Day. It's The Greatest Gift of All by Whitney Houston, and I'm just going to have it running in the background and you're going to see how it relates to kind of what I'm going to talk about today. So I just want to talk really about holidays and how it really diminishes our self-esteem and our self-worth. On Mother's Day and every day, people really need to remember that they are infinite love and consciousness having a human experience. Societally deemed holidays, like today, that resemble a Hallmark card advertisement, encourage images of what their perfect family ought to be, and are in fact not very realistic expectations. In our current awakening on the planet, many people have shifted awareness. They no longer resonate with their own families. They later realize lifelong friends who've in fact never been true friends at all because of how they treat that person when they lose their health, their spouse, or they go through another life crisis such as the loss of a job, or being diagnosed with some sort of critical illness. All of these things diminish people who you thought were your friends that really can't be that for you anymore. In reality, what they don't tell you is that the vibration has changed. The vibration has changed of you, likely not them, as they've stayed the same, and the matrix reality will not allow you in the same reality with the person if your vibrations are different. Sometimes when our own lives crumble, people vanish, and in fear and security, we often take on the role of victim or little me, and we blame ourselves further. We create more suffering, and we believe the lie, and the program will repeat itself. If an individual is told repeatedly that they are worthless, sick, and they're a loser after their marriage breaks down or they have health issues, a large number of people will still believe the lie because they're still functioning in the program. They will self-police themselves, and they will suffer more mental and physical anguish. Most people live in a perpetual self-hating group fear state. However, this is not by accident, but by design. It is only because these people are asleep within the program, in the shame-based policing program of the matrix reality, that they can't help but treat you this way, or themselves. They've been conditioned much like the Pavlovian dogs you may have heard of in your university or high school classes. They would rather send actual authorities to your house than be there for you in a crisis because they can't even be there for themselves in such a crisis. The reality is in Western culture that we have a self-shaming, policing society. In many other cultures as well, the same thing exists. In some cultures like India, in some parts of India, it's so pronounced that if a lady is raped, she is completely disbarred from that family and kicked out and judged to be no good, and it's of no fault of her own. So this cultural shaming is in every culture in some extent. I'm sure very few cultures don't have some element of it. The group mentality for so-called wrong decision making, even when the person themselves has done nothing wrong from a moral standpoint, is very prevalent in our society. Sorrow, hopelessness, depression are all symptoms of this terrible problem. And in Western culture, antidepressants fly like Band-Aid. They're candy Band-Aid solutions at family doctors, while real emotional tools are not discussed. Coping mechanisms are not discussed unless you find them on your own and do your own self-work and self-discovery and self-help, or find like-minded people or groups either online or, if you're really lucky, in the real world that you live in. So as a kind of a sideline to this, domestic and family violence will increase. People become more and more frustrated. Frustration and helplessness runs rampant, and physical illness skyrockets as fear really does bring down the body's vibration. In our world right now, a billion people are starving. Of course, this is due to unconscious greed and power, using the grain to feed the people, to feed animals, so we can continue to eat meat on this planet. And we could feed all the people on the planet, but the powers that be don't want us to feed everyone. They want to keep perpetual states of fear manifesting, which is really unfortunate. In my physical Canadian zone of the program, a large number of people have just lost all their material goods and city to a forest fire, and that's in Fort McMurray. But through this terrible crisis, I've seen so much beautiful humanity, people stepping up, not going to work, driving up there with fuel, with food, with clothing, self-help and group help groups overnight starting up. So it's just been remarkable to see how humanity, my faith, is restored through this crisis where so much good has come out of it. Obviously, there's going to be some lowbrow GoFundMe type campaigns and people trying to cover it, of course, off people's suffering, but I've seen a lot of good as well. And if you just have this concept that with reality, none of us are getting out of this form, our physical form will disappear one day. None of us is going to kick around in this form forever. And understand that we are infinite love and consciousness. We need to stop judging ourselves and others, loving and forgiving ourselves fully and completely from whatever past events have happened or things we've done or others have done, and helping one another, taking each moment as it comes. And thus you go back to who you really are, your true infinite universal self. And that takes gaining a better and bigger perspective. It's taken me these last 5 years to realize how messed up things in this reality really are, and that I don't have to play the game and I don't have to be a victim anymore to it. My own grandmother's 96. Of course, she's not on Facebook to hear this, but she has no clue about any of this and lives in fear-based religion still and reality. And it's really unfortunate that the vast majority of people still live in this fear-based reality, and it doesn't have to be this way. When at times I fall back in the program and fall into the self-pity and the little me and forget who I truly am, I remember what true love really is. And it's from this realization of self-love and the nature of consciousness that it's a program that will be freed ultimately from this attachment to matrix-based reality. As Whitney Houston says in the song I'm playing, learning to love yourself is the greatest gift of all. And that's what I wish for all of you on this Mother's Day, that you can truly love yourself, let go of the pain, the hurt, the story of who and what you are on this planet. This is me, Sabrina, having an experience on this particular day, but that's ultimately not what I am. I'm divine, immanent consciousness, and the more people can understand that, the more they free themselves from the mental slavery of this program. Thank you so much. Until the next time, and have a great day.